Welcome to Eagles Rewind. On this episode, we will go inside Forge Athletics as we take a look at what's happening with our fall sports teams. We will also feature interviews with our male and female athlete of the month, and also we'll look at a feature interview I did with the leadership of the Green Wall. Before we get into our fall sports, let's talk a little bit about the season in general. I think my game story last Friday night called it a season of weirdness. We've had oppressive heat and rain and not a normal home game as of yet. I don't think I've ever seen a start and stop season like this has been. Your thoughts on this madness?
It's definitely been different, that's for sure. We've had to reschedule a lot of games. Our outside activities, field hockey and football, has been the most affected. And it's weird. It's unprecedented. We've never had to do that during the fall. Usually that's something that happens at the beginning of spring. But, all of our coaches, players, families have handled it well. And hopefully that's past us. And now we're looking forward and ready to put a bow on the rest of the season.
All right. And even with the weather issues, we continue to get it done with the fall sports. Let's start with our cross-country team.
Yeah, they're on fire, especially on the girls' side. They've gone to numerous events, and a lot of these are prestigious events against some top competition in our region, state, and even the country. And our girls have done really, really well. Obviously we're led by Mackenzie Watkins, Allison Fick, Peyton Walker, Kayla Loescher. But there's a deep team there, a lot of depth. Big things are to come for them. On the boys' side, we got Brett Edmonds and Michael Arner running really well. And so we have high expectations. I know Coach Booth is really, really excited about where these two teams are heading, especially the girls' team. They're hoping to push for some championships here in the upcoming weeks.
Okay, good. Next we go to the field hockey field. What are you seeing from Coach Julie Spinelli's group?
Started off on fire. Really had a great beginning of the season. Kind of leveled off a little bit here lately, and we're playing 500 field hockey at this point. But Coach Spinelli and Coach Farrick, they're getting the most out of these girls. They're working them very hard. It's a great group of girls. Coach Spinelli can't speak any more high of these girls. Great character, great quality, and so they're looking to make their press as we get into regional play too, and they're going to figure out that, like I said, they hit a little bit of a lull, but they're going to figure it out, and they have high expectations as well.
A lot of good news also coming from the golf course. Update us on Coach Rob Broxton and his varsity golf team.
Just concluded the regional championship at Fawn Lake. Great course out there, beautiful day. They finally had some good weather too, and Matt Wood had a fantastic day, finished third overall. He's headed to states again, so that's a huge accomplishment for him. And then on the girls' side, we didn't have anybody qualify for states, but they do have a girls' zone qualifier that's coming up here towards the end of the month, and Maddie Brailer's leading that pack, and so she has high expectations, and hopefully she'll do good things at that event.
Awesome. Okay. I'm noticing a new attitude in the gym with our volleyball team. What have you seen from Coach Courtney Ginrich and her team?
The expectation level has gone up a notch. We've had 2 years where it hasn't been fun being in that gym. Not for the fans, not for the players on the court, not for the coaches. Things just haven't gone, for whatever reason, haven't gone the way that we want them to. But right from the get-go, you could see that this was a different group, different year, different leadership, and they've really taken off. They're playing really well now, and as we were talking about earlier, winning is the expectation, and just winning, 3 sets to 2 or squeaking out a few games here there isn't good enough anymore. She's expecting more out of these girls, and they're starting to deliver, and hopefully we have big things coming down the road as we get into regional and state play too. But it's fun to be in the gym again in the fall and watch these girls have smiles on their faces and really competing.
Absolutely. A lot of hard work there. Speaking of hard work, nobody works harder than our cheerleaders. What's new with
Without a doubt. What they've got there, it's so weird. They start their tryout process in May, and they don't have any competitions except for rooting on our teams, making signs, school spirit, all those things until October 11th. and they really only have one shot at it. Well, actually, they have districts first, and that's more of a warm-up, tune-up. That's at Mountain View High School on October 11th. That's always a big event, and there's really good teams. Cheerleading in our area is really big, so our girls are hoping to really do well there. And then we're fortunate enough, we're hosting the regional cheer competition on October 20th right here at Colonial Forge at 11 a.m. And so they're excited about that. But, they practice all that time, and they only have, the district competition and regionals. And, if they don't perform well, they go home. So the pressure's on. But Coach Mitchell feels really good about her group, and they're a great group of girls. And so we're excited for them and hope they do well at regionals.
Absolutely. Right. And last but not least, and I say this every fall show, let's talk about our unbeaten football team.
Yeah, here we are. It's the beginning of October, and we're undefeated. It seems like it's the same old. Coach John Brown now has taken over for his father, and nothing's changed. It's high expectations, consistency. They've built our program into one of the top in the state, and we're expected to be 6-0, but we have a huge game this Friday against Massaponax, who had a down year last year, but Coach Eric Ludden and his staff, they don't have two down years back-to-back, and here they are 6-0, and they're coming in, and we thumped them pretty good last year, but I guarantee you they're going to be hungry. Our team's excited about it. We have our talent tailgate on Friday, which is a big event for our students, starting at 5 o'clock. The place will be packed. Freelance Stars already called it the game of the year. We're excited to be hosting it, and it's fun to watch our kids get out there and play. As we were alluding to in the beginning of the show, we haven't had our first Friday night game, we played one quarter. Our second Friday night home game was moved to a Wednesday. Our third Friday night home game was moved to Mountain View High School. So this is our first opportunity to put on a show, and what a great atmosphere it's going to be on Friday night. We're excited.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. That's the trip inside Forge Athletics and our fall sports programs. Next, we will take you to interviews with both our male and female athletes of the month. Our male athlete is Elijah Lewisant from our football team, and our female athlete is Peyton Walker from both our cross-country and volleyball teams. Let's roll those interviews right now. We are with the male athlete of the month here at the Forge. He's Elijah Lewisant from the football team. Elijah, let's start out talking about some crazy weather we've had. As we go into week 7 of the regular season, you've played 13 minutes of one game, had another game moved to Wednesday night, and then last week you played at a completely different school. Does this craziness affect you as a player or any of your teammates?
I would say that it doesn't affect me or my teammates because we always get the job done. We can practice at Embry Mill at several locations, but it doesn't really affect us in any way, shape, or form. I say, it just motivates us. All this craziness, it just makes us, we rise to the top. We rise to every difficulty we have. We always overcome it, so, yeah.
That's good. All right. Now, as much as I don't want to go back to December 2nd and the overtime loss to the Oscar Smith Tigers, how long does that kind of game sit with you, and what did you do and your teammates do to move on from and focus on 2018?
I guess some of us would just push it to the side, and it sits with most of us, the people who it just sits with us for a long time. We all know what we could have did to win that game. There was several missed assignments, several things we could have done to just put ourselves on top, but we failed, and it sits with us. But we're gonna get over it. We're gonna overcome it. We're gonna do bigger and better things.
Good. All right. Now, you're in your final season at Eagle Stadium, and can you give me a few memories of Friday nights there, and do you have a favorite home game that you've played in your career?
Favorite home game I've ever played was probably my sophomore year when we first played Brook Point. It was the first game of the season. We lost that game, but the green wall was insane. It was backed up to it was crazy. I don't have a favorite memory, but every time I go out there on Friday nights, it's always the best. I love the fans. I love the atmosphere. I love the music. It just pumps me up, and I'm ready to play. I love that.
All right, great. All right. You've got Massaponax coming in here on Friday night. Last year when we went down there, had a great game against them at their place. Both teams coming in 6-0. The winner takes the lead in the district. What are you looking for on the defensive side of the ball on Friday night?
Defensive side, we just need to stay with our assignments. We need to do everything that we were coached to do. I think we're going to flow to the ball perfect. We're going to do everything perfect. We're going to get it down. We're going to win this game with the help of the green wall, too, because we love the green wall. Home games are great.
All right, great. Should be a good one. Elijah, I appreciate you doing this. Congrats on the award, and we'll see you on Friday night. That's the Male Athlete of the Month, Elijah Louisant. Let's go back to the studio for an interview with Female Athlete of the Month, Peyton Walker. We're here now with the Female Athlete of the Month from our volleyball and cross-country teams. She's sophomore Peyton Walker. Peyton, thanks for coming in, and congrats on being Athlete of the Month. And I don't think we've ever had a sophomore as an Athlete of the Month, so that's you're doing good things for both teams this fall. Let's start by going back a little bit. You've been with the volleyball program for a while, even though you just got here. Your sister Bailey's a senior. Your mom is on the staff here. Is it volleyball all the time in the Walker house?
Yes, it really is volleyball all the time. We go from after-school volleyball to travel volleyball and then going to volleyball games because both my parents are coaches, so it really is volleyball. And my little sister, she's a volleyball player now, so it's crazy.
Is it strange to have your mom as a coach, or has she been a coach for a long time and she's sort of brought you up that?
Yeah, I've always had my mom as my volleyball coach, actually. She was my first volleyball coach when I was about 8, so it's not strange. She's definitely harder on me, but I like it. I like the pressure.
Okay, good. All right. Now, I mentioned you were also running cross-country. How does a kid so young balance both sports and have time to keep everything else balanced and also be a kid?
It's very difficult to do both, but I love being busy. I love both sports, cross country and volleyball, and I enjoy doing them both, so I don't know what I would do without them.
All right, now when we get to winter in the spring, you're also on the track team. What events are you running there and competing in? What events for winter, indoor and spring track?
For winter track, I do the 1,000, and I also run the 4x8 and the 4x4. I don't think I'll do jumping this year, just so I can focus mainly on those running events, trying to qualify for nationals. And then for outdoor track, I'm doing the 800, 4x4, 4x8, basically the same events. So.
Again, I don't know how you balance it. Back to volleyball now. Your freshman year, the team struggled. We've had our conversations about that, finishing 7-13 for the year. This year, putting together a good run here in the beginning under new coach Courtney Ginrich. How hard was last year being your first time in a Forge uniform, and how have you and your team turned it around this year with a 7-2 mark so far?
Yeah, it was really, really hard for us last year, and it was really embarrassing to me because, we are Forge, and I just thought that we didn't show up, and, it was partial, like our team, our coach, the environment, just we weren't ourselves. So coming from last year to this year is a huge improvement, and we're really bringing it this year.
Awesome. Okay. Now you've watched your sister Bailey's a senior. You've watched her career, and now you're in the middle of your run. Can you describe your role on the team now, and what your role will be as you become an upperclassman next year?
My role now is always be a leader on the court, show up, bring the team together. I am the setter, so I do control basically who gets the ball, what happens. So I think it'll be the same, just more intensified next year, being that captain on the court.
Good. Okay. All right. And like I say, I've talked to you before. You've been sitting at that scores table for years, it seems like, doing stats even before you arrived. When you watched those games back then, was there a Forge player that you saw out there that you sort of modeled your game after, or you said, she's good, I want to play like her when I get to Forge?
Yes, I've always looked forward to playing volleyball for Forge because of Presley Mayhem and Nori Thomas. I'll never forget them. They're so good players, and I look up to them. And so that's why I've always looked forward to coming to play volleyball here at Forge, and they're my inspiration.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Peyton, thanks for doing this. Congratulations again on the award, and best of luck to you and the Eagles the rest of the way. That's our Female Athlete of the Month, Peyton Walker. Let's go back to Eagles Rewind. Welcome back. We want to thank both Elijah Louison and Peyton Walker for stopping by with those interviews, and congratulate them both on being Athletes of the Month for September at Colonial Forge. We'll close out this edition of Eagles Rewind with an interview I did with the four guys I like to call Oscar the Grouch, President Dweeks, Big Tony, and the Dean of the Wall. Let's meet the leaders of America's greatest student section, the Green Wall, right now. We are with the four Musketeers of the Green Wall for this year. Guys, from left to right, tell us who you are and your grade in school.
I'm John, senior.
I'm David, a senior.
I'm Anthony, senior. I'm Steve, you guessed it, senior.
All right, guys. You probably don't know, or I've probably told you from time to time, there is a history with this Green Wall stuff. Back in the day, when the school first opened, we did not have we had a Green Wall, but it wasn't like it is today. It wasn't until Mr. Daniel became principal, like 12, 13, something like that, where we finally clicked on with the school spirit and the Green Wall. And in the early stages of the Green Wall will be full until halftime, and then second half of the Green Wall will be out by the concession stand on the pavilion. So anybody that wants it. Seniors now, what are your first memories of the Green Wall when you were a freshman?
I think for me it was I remember Steve and I would talk about, like, we'd show up on Friday nights as freshmen, sit in the back, and we saw Stuart Butters and some other guys leading it, and we talked about it, and we were like, hey, that'd be cool if we did that, and we kind of looked forward to that, and we ended up just coming to every game throughout high school, and we kind of earned our spot.
Okay. Anybody else?
I remember the Stuart Butters baby face. That was my favorite thing.
Okay. All right. Back in the day, when you were sitting up on top, did you ever think that in 4 years you'd be down here?
Yeah, I hoped for it.
Yeah, I think we all hoped for it, but I never thought I would, but here we are.
It was a dream come true.
Yeah, honestly.
I'd say.
Seriously.
From the day I was born, I just thought to myself, man, I really, really need to be on the Green Wall stand. And 17 years later, here I am.
Aim higher, Anthony. Aim higher.
Big Tony.
All right. You guys were selected by the athletic department, obviously, this year. Do you have mentors that you're looking at now to give us as possible candidates for next year?
I mean, I think the 2020 class, they have a lot of potential. They need to show us that potential. They have not yet shown it to us yet. So we got some kids in the back of our minds, but they're not showing us the full 100% right now.
I agree, and when you, like the class of 2020 does, when they leave halfway through the game, it's very disappointing. It's hard to get the Green Wall excited. And in all seriousness, because then it comes down to just the seniors leading it, and when in reality it needs to be juniors and seniors helping us lead. So when they all leave for more important things, whatever that may be, it leaves us kind of hanging, and it's hard for us to get the Green Wall excited without them.
Yeah, when you see the spirit, see the noise, whole game, every game.
No standout 2020ers so far.
All right, so that was a throwdown. But now I want to talk a little bit about, in the beginning, when the Green Wall first started, we had the stands and we had the pom poms and all that stuff, and we had buckets. Now we've gone to trash cans.
Yes.
How did that start?
John, Mr. Trashman, hello. The motivation was seeing the trash can from the 2017 class, and I can't remember his name, but
Evan Blaze.
Evan Blaze, yes.
Yeah.
He had a trash can, and I saw a picture over the summer, and it inspired me to bring a trash can to every game.
It makes a lot of noise. Try to get
Destroyed.
the opposing team rustled. So
Okay. All right, and so you've bragged about it. How many so far? 6 weeks in, how many cans have met their death?
3 trash cans.
3 trash cans.
trash
We've
cans.
broken six to 8 buckets.
And it's only halfway through. That's
The
pretty
numbers
awesome.
will climb.
Buckets will die.
Exponentially.
Believe.
Okay. Think back for every one of you. Inside, outside, winter, fall, spring, whatever. Your favorite game at Forge?
By far, for me at least, was the Oscar Smith state semi game last year. Greatest game I've ever seen played at Colonial Forge. Unfortunately, we didn't come out on top. We all have opinions on that, but the game itself was great, and just to be part of that and to see all of our buddies out there fighting for everything they had was great, and it was a great environment to be a part of.
All right. Anybody else got a different?
That's my game too.
I have to agree with President David here.
I would say so. Big pile up on the Zach Kindle touchdown that game.
Giant mosh pit, bottom of the bleachers. It was crazy.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Now, Anthony, I'm going to point to you now. Being on the lacrosse team, is it true that we're in the recruiting mode for a Weekman sighting on the lacrosse field?
We have had many meetings as a lacrosse team to get all 4 of us out there, especially President Dweeks right here. Yeah, we're looking for talent. I mean, just lost a heavy senior class, and what about these senior dudes right here? I think they can bring a lot of stuff in, a lot of locker room stuff. Just get the team overall hyped up. Man, we have green wall leaders, man. I saw a quote on the Bird the other day. It says, "Great sidelines wins championships," and I think these guys can bring a great atmosphere to the team.
Well, excuse me, I wouldn't be on the sideline, I'd be on the field.
That is
Yes,
true.
sir.
That is true.
Now, that's the problem I have with you. If you all go, what happens to the green wall when we're on the field?
We'll do both.
Yes, of course.
Up offensively.
That's my response to you, Mr. Hill.
I'm sure.
Leave
Coach,
that to us, please.
Coach Fain will appreciate that. Okay. Anthony, again, okay, I heard another rumor I heard, and we're going to go back to this last spring. Matt Stocks gets injured in the last game of the season. Is it true? Is it true when he sustained that injury in the crease that you said, "Get up, get up"?
Yeah, me and Matt Stocks, you can ask him. We're brothers. And when his leg was physically broken, I looked at him and I said, "Get up, you're fine." I mean, when the ambulance came, I will admit I cried a little bit, but I did yell at him to get up because he would have done the same thing to me, and he has done the same thing to me before.
Okay, all
Sometimes
right.
you just got to walk it off.
Yeah, just
Okay.
rub some dirt on it, old
Big
fashioned.
feeling.
All right, and last question. We've got 6-0 teams here on Friday night. What is this going to be like on Friday for Massaponax?
You know, I think the atmosphere is going to be very, very big for us. Massaponax, everyone knows Massaponax is a good team. I mean, you guys any add to that?
This is the game to go to.
Yeah, this
is the
I'm
game
hoping to have a
come
new favorite game this week.
And my thing is, I was talking to some buddies on the team. They scout and they watch film on the other team. We scout and we watch film on the other student section. So
Yeah.
we've been social media stalking and what have you to see who's going to be showing up, what their student section looks like, and I think it's pretty safe to say that the Green Wall will win that battle. So hopefully we can
doubt.
finish on
Always.
the field, get the W.
All right. All right, guys, I appreciate you all doing this. We've got 3/4 of a year left. We're not going to stop outside. We're going to go back inside when the weather hits us. So I appreciate you doing this. And that's the Green Wall, and applications are now being accepted. Back to the studio.
Carefully reviewed.
There you have it. Eagles Rewind for the month of September. We want to thank all of our guests for their time and insight, and we look forward to the October edition of Eagles Rewind as we take you inside Forge Athletics. We will see you next time.